Welcome to this explainer. If you're a focused learner trying to wrap your head around the shifting tectonic plates of global geopolitics, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're examining how two nations with incredibly deep, complex historical ties are rapidly converging into what might just be a defining modern alliance. We are, of course, talking about the United Kingdom and India. You see, the relationship between these two powers is undergoing a massive transformation right now. They're moving way beyond just shared history and stepping into a highly strategic future together. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the structured journey we're taking today through this complex geopolitical web. 1. The evolution of the partnership. 2. Pillars of modern cooperation. 3. People, health, and planet. 4. The post-Brexit strategic tilt. And finally, number 5, the 2030 10-year roadmap. Section 1. Evolution of the partnership. From history to strategy. We all know about their deep historical and cultural ties, but let's pivot immediately to the modern turning points that really escalated this relationship. You know, the diplomatic momentum between these two nations isn't some slow burn. It's a deliberate, rapid acceleration. The groundwork was really laid back in 2004 when Prime Ministers Manmohan Singh and Tony Blair adopted a joint declaration, officially upgrading ties to a strategic partnership. That got the ball rolling. Then, notice the jump to 2010. Following a visit by Prime Minister David Cameron, relations were elevated again to an enhanced partnership for the future. By 2015, the focus sharpened dramatically with the signing of the Defense and International Security Partnership, or DIASP. So in just over a decade, this alliance matured completely from broad declarations to hard, strategic security roadmaps. Section 2. Pillars of modern cooperation. Trade and defense. Let's look at the tangible economic and security pillars that hold this up, proving they're much more than just historic partners. The sheer volume of money moving between these nations is frankly staggering. In the 2019 to 2020 period alone, merchandise trade hit a massive $15.5 billion. But the investment data? That's even more striking. India is actually the second largest source of foreign direct investment in the UK, trailing only behind the United States. Conversely, the UK is the sixth largest investor in India. This two-way capital flow proves for sure that their economic fates are deeply intertwined. Now, shifting gears from economics to security, the ties are expanding just as rapidly. Following that 2015 defense partnership, we're seeing major operational shifts. For example, the UK is actively deploying a carrier strike group to the Indian Ocean region. In the world of international relations, moving an entire carrier strike group is a clear, highly authoritative signal of strategic commitment. Plus, the UK is joining the Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. Both of these moves neutrally and clearly demonstrate the UK's strategic tilt toward the Indo-Pacific, aligning right with India's backyard. Section 3. People, Health, and Planet. The human connection. Let's shift our focus to the incredible human and scientific connections that prove the real-world value of this partnership to the average viewer. Because behind all that high-level geopolitical strategy, it really comes down to the people, specifically the massive diaspora of 1.6 million British nationals of Indian origin. They form the living, breathing cultural backbone of this relationship, representing one of the absolute largest ethnic minority communities in the UK.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the outsized economic impact of this community. When you combine those 1.6 million British nationals of Indian origin with about 351,000 non-resident Indians living in the UK, they make up just about 2.5% of the UK population. Yet they drive an astounding 6% of the country's GDP. No way, right? And on top of that, there are currently 16 Indian origin members of parliament in the UK. So this human connection translates directly into immense economic and political influence.
And we literally just saw the power of that shared expertise in action. The collaboration between Oxford University, AstraZeneca, and the Serum Institute of India to produce the COVID-19 vaccine is such a triumphant micro-narrative. It serves as a brilliant blueprint for how UK and Indian scientific and manufacturing expertise can perfectly complement each other to solve a massive international health crisis. That blueprint for solving global challenges extends directly to climate action, which is fantastic to see. The two nations have launched joint initiatives like the Green Growth Equity Fund to mobilize renewable energy investments. At the COP26 summit, they jointly launched the visionary Global Green Grids Initiative. Plus, the UK and India are current co-chairs of the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. They aren't just talking about climate change, they are physically building the architecture to fight it together. Section 4, the post-Brexit strategic tilt, a shifting global order. Let's look at the massive geopolitical catalysts forcing this convergence, answering the crucial question of why now?
So why the sudden acceleration? Well, it boils down to a perfect storm of simultaneous needs. Economically, post-Brexit, the UK absolutely must diversify its trading partners to minimize economic impact, and India represents a massive, crucial market for that. On the flip side, looking at security, the UK is recalibrating its strategic outlook, tilting toward the Indo-Pacific to counter a rising China and to expand intelligence sharing. India, which shares these exact Indo-Pacific concerns, fits perfectly into both the economic and security sides of this equation.
The source material outlines exactly how the UK is navigating these global threats. Neutrally speaking, the UK's strategy involves significantly increasing its nuclear stockpile to counter threats from Russia and the assertiveness of China, alongside its membership in the AUKUS nuclear submarine partnership. But a really key realization here, one shared by India, is that the United States alone cannot constrain China. Therefore, the UK, a leader in intelligence gathering, sees enormous potential to share intelligence with key Indo-Pacific states. The UK remains a relatively untapped, indispensable strategic partner for India in this theater.
From India's perspective, this convergence has been actively smoothed out by recent UK policy shifts. Neutrally noting the underlying research, the UK's introduction of a post-Brexit meritocratic immigration policy, alongside its move to co-sponsor a UN motion addressing Pakistan's terrorism financing, have significantly helped put their ties on a much healthier footing.
Beyond just bilateral moves, the UK is actively backing India's rise on the global stage. The UK consistently supports India's bid for permanent membership in the UN Security Council. Furthermore, they are a strong supporter of India joining elite non-proliferation groups like the Nuclear Suppliers Group. Basically, the UK is actively helping India secure its seat at the most important tables in the world.
Section 5, the 2030 10-year roadmap, the future vision. Let's move to and see how this builds over the next decade to understand exactly where this convergence is leading us.
So, what are we looking at for the next 10 years? The 2030 roadmap sets out highly ambitious goals. Economically, they aim to negotiate a free trade agreement and outright double UK-India trade by 2030. On the security front, the focus is on enhancing maritime info sharing to ensure a free and open Indo-Pacific. Crucially, they're also targeting the digital battlefield, planning to collaborate multilaterally on cybersecurity, specifically to combat the lead of companies like Huawei in 5G infrastructure.
So the crucial point is this. We are watching India deliberately carve out a new role for itself as a leading global power, at the exact same moment the UK is completely recalibrating its outlook post-Brexit. This isn't just a routine diplomatic upgrade. It is a truly unique historical moment born out of simultaneous mutual need and profound strategic alignment.
Which leaves us with this final, truly fascinating question derived directly from the research. Two historic nations, driven by modern economic realities, pandemic-era cooperation, and rising geopolitical tensions, have mapped out a tightly bound future. As the UK recalibrates its place in the world and India ascends to its status as a leading power, will this specific partnership be the one that ultimately defines the new global order? It's a provocative thought, and one we'll undoubtedly be watching unfold over the next decade. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.